Chapter 1. Down the Rabbit Hole. Alice was sitting next to her sister by the riverbank, feeling really bored. There was nothing interesting to do. She peeked into her sister's book a couple of times, but oh, it was so dull. It didn't have any pictures or fun conversations. How can anyone enjoy a book without any pictures or talking? Alice wondered. So, as Alice sat there feeling sleepy and a bit silly because of the hot day, she started thinking to herself. Maybe I should make a daisy chain. That could be fun, she thought. But just as she was about to decide whether to get up and pick the daisies, something very unexpected happened. A white rabbit with pink eyes ran right past her. At first, Alice didn't think it was too strange to see a rabbit. But then, she heard the rabbit talk to itself, saying, "Oh dear. Oh dear. I shall be late." This surprised her a little, but not too much. However, what really caught her attention was when the rabbit took out a watch from its waistcoat pocket and looked at it. Alice had never seen a rabbit wearing a waistcoat, let alone one with a pocket watch. Filled with curiosity, she jumped up and ran across the field after the rabbit. She arrived just in time to see it dive into a big rabbit hole under the hedge. Without even thinking about how she would get out, Alice followed right after the rabbit and jumped into the rabbit hole. It was like a long tunnel at first, and then, all of a sudden, it went straight down. It happened so fast that Alice couldn't even think about stopping. Before she knew it, she was falling down a very deep well. As Alice kept falling, she began to think the well must be very deep, or maybe she was just falling very slowly, because she had enough time to look around. She first tried to see what was below her, but it was too dark. Then, she turned to look at the walls of the well and saw something very unusual. There were cupboards and bookshelves all around, with maps and pictures hanging here and there. As she was falling, Alice reached out and grabbed a jar from one of the shelves. It had orange marmalade written on it, but when she opened it, she found it was empty. She didn't want to drop the jar and possibly hurt someone below, so she carefully placed it back in another cupboard as she continued to fall. Alice thought to herself, wow. After falling like this, falling down the stairs at home will seem like nothing. Everyone will think I'm so brave. And if I fell off the top of the house, I wouldn't even make a fuss about it. Alice was pretty sure she would be brave. As she continued to fall, Alice started to wonder, how far down have I gone by now? She spoke out loud, maybe I'm getting close to the center of the earth. That would be about 4,000 miles, I think. Alice remembered learning something like this in her school lessons. But what about latitude or longitude where I am now, she wondered. Alice didn't really know what those words meant, but they sounded important and fancy. Alice started thinking again as she fell. What if I go right through the earth and come out where people walk upside down? That would be so funny, she giggled. She thought about a word she had heard, the antipathies, but wasn't sure if it was the right word for such upside-down people. I wonder if I'll end up in a place like New Zealand or Australia, she mused. I'd have to ask someone politely, excuse me, is this New Zealand or Australia? Alice even tried to practice a curtsy while she was falling, imagine that. But what if they think I'm silly for asking? Alice worried to herself. I shouldn't ask directly. Maybe I'll find the name of the place written somewhere when I land. Continuing to fall, Alice started to talk to herself. I bet Dinah is going to miss me tonight, she thought. Dinah was her pet cat. I hope they remember to give her milk at tea time. Oh, Dinah, I wish you were here with me. There aren't any mice up here in the air, but maybe you could catch a bat. Bats are kind of like mice, right? But I wonder, do cats eat bats? As she mused, Alice began to feel sleepy. She kept murmuring to herself, do cats eat bats? Do cats eat bats? And sometimes she wondered, do bats eat cats? Since she didn't know the answer, it was fun to think about it both ways. She was getting so drowsy, and she started to dream that she was walking with Dinah, asking her, "Dinah, did you ever eat a bat?" Just then, with a thump, thump, Alice landed on a pile of sticks and dry leaves. And just like that, her long fall came to an end. Alice landed softly and wasn't hurt at all. She quickly got up on her feet and looked around. It was dark above her, but in front of her, there was another long hallway. She could still see the White Rabbit, hurrying down the passage. "I can't lose him now," thought Alice, and off she went, fast as the wind. Just as she turned a corner, she heard the rabbit saying, "Oh my ears and whiskers, how late it's getting." But when Alice turned the corner, the White Rabbit was gone. She found herself in a long, low hall lit by lamps hanging from the ceiling. The hall had many doors all around, but every single one was locked. Alice walked up and down, trying each door, but with no luck. Feeling a bit sad, she wondered, "How will I ever get out of here?" While exploring, Alice suddenly saw a small, three-legged table made entirely of glass. The only thing on it was a tiny golden key. Alice thought, maybe this key opens one of the doors in the hall. She tried the key in each door, but either the locks were too big, or the key was too small. It didn't fit any of them. Then, as she looked around again, Alice noticed a low curtain that she hadn't seen before. Behind the curtain was a little door, only about 15 inches high. She put the tiny golden key into the lock, and guess what? It fit perfectly. Alice was so happy to find the right door for the key. Alice opened the tiny door and saw a small passage, just big enough for a rat to squeeze through. She got down on her knees and peeked through. On the other side was the most beautiful garden she had ever seen. There were bright flowers and cool fountains, and Alice really wanted to go out and explore them. But the door was so small, she couldn't even fit her head through it. Alice thought to herself, "Even if I could get my head through, I can't go without my shoulders. I wish I could fold up like a telescope." Alice had seen so many strange things happen that she started to believe almost anything was possible if she just knew how to make it happen. Alice realized it was no use just waiting by the little door, so she went back to the glass table. She was half hoping to find another key, or maybe even a book with rules about how to shrink like a telescope. This time, she noticed a little bottle on the table that wasn't there before. Alice was quite sure of that. Around the neck of the bottle, there was a paper label with the words "Drink Me" written in big, beautiful letters. Alice saw the words "Drink Me," but she was a smart little girl and didn't just drink it right away. "I should check if it's safe first," she said to herself. She remembered stories she had read about children who got into trouble because they didn't follow simple rules, like not touching a red-hot poker or being careful with a sharp knife. And she knew very well that drinking something marked poison could be very bad. But this bottle wasn't marked poison, so Alice thought it might be okay to try a little sip. To her surprise, it tasted wonderful. It was a mix of so many flavors: cherry tart, custard, pineapple, roast turkey, toffee, and even hot buttered toast. It was so delicious that Alice quickly finished it all. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Alice felt a strange sensation and said, "I must be shrinking like a telescope." And she was right. She had become only 10 inches tall. Alice was excited because she was now just the right size to go through the little door to the beautiful garden. But she waited a bit first, wondering if she might shrink even more. "What if I keep getting smaller, like a candle melting away?" she thought. After a while, when she didn't get any smaller, Alice decided to go into the garden. But oh no! When she reached the door, she realized she had forgotten the little golden key on the table. She hurried back, but now she was too small to reach it. She could see the key clearly, but couldn't climb the slippery table legs. Tired and upset, Alice sat down and started to cry. Stop crying, Alice, she told herself quite sternly. Crying won't help. Alice often gave herself good advice, although she didn't always listen. She remembered times when she scolded herself, like when she cheated in a game of croquet she played by herself. Pretending to be two people is no help now, she thought sadly. I'm barely big enough to be one person. Then, Alice spotted a little glass box under the table. Inside, she found a very small cake with "Eat Me" written on it with currants. If I eat this, maybe I'll grow big enough to reach the key, or maybe I'll get even smaller and slip under the door. Either way, I'll get to the garden, she said bravely. Alice took a small bite and waited, touching the top of her head to see if she was growing or shrinking. To her surprise, she stayed the same size. How odd, she thought. Usually, when you eat cake, nothing strange happens. But Alice was so used to weird things happening that normal seemed boring. Without waiting any longer, Alice quickly ate the rest of the cake, hoping something would happen. Dear parents and children, Chapter 1 broadcast complete. In order to create easy-to-understand fairy tales, our team has optimized the original text as much as possible to ensure that young readers can understand the story. If you're interested in the upcoming chapters, please subscribe and hit the bell icon for all notifications to stay updated with our latest releases. Wishing you and your children a joyful life. See you in our next episode.